Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Curator Perspective Zoom online series. This is a series of presentations by different curators from San Diego, from Tijuana, and from other parts of the USA and Mexico. And they talk about their practice as curators, or some of them talk about one specific exhibition. Um, so we're very happy to have Claudia Cano, the curator of the Dia de la Mujer exhibition. I also would like to introduce again Alejandra Ruiz, parte del staff de Casa Familiar at the front, and Elizabeth Vaca. So we're gonna get started. Then, muchas gracias Claudia, and please take it away.
Gracias, Francisco. Thank you to the front that has been invited me to curate the 18th annual Dia de la Mujer. It's been an honor journey as an artist to become the curator of this amazing exhibition with amazing artists. I did just a little bit of the work. It's important to participate, and I think that this event, especially this organization, cares about community. So I am very grateful that I was invited, and in other years I have been participating. So I'm going to introduce myself a little bit before I share my slides. I'm an artist and an educator with an interest in performance, photography, video, textiles, serigraphy, and social practice. My studies include my studies include research in cultures, Mexican and American culture, as well as addressing issues of inequality and marginalization in the community. I will start now sharing, and I would like to clarify that I was invited as an artist, curating for the first time an amazing list of artists that submitted from all over the world. We had 110 submissions, and due to the space, the time constraint, we decided to curate 34 artists, and I was honored to invite 5 artists from the community, from the region, including Tijuana, San Diego, and Los Angeles, to be part of this exhibition. So I will start sharing my slides. I am asking for, do I have permission? Okay. Here I go. Let me just hide the floating. And yeah, visions of a future, visiones de un futuro. When I was invited to be the curator, it was a rough week when the elections took place. And obviously I was very sad and driven to not do any artwork at all. But then I thought, well, if this is only 4 years, hopefully, we're talking about November, it will be different. So how do I talk about art? How do I invite people and artists in the community to think about the future? So the image that you see in the front, those are palm trees. Actually, they are dusters converted into palm trees, thinking about, how alternative spaces are important. So I was fortunate to be advised and talk about, how do I convert this idea into an open call. And I always talk to my peers, my artists, my colleagues, and I came up with the idea of visiones of a future, of visions of a future, exploring imaginary spaces and alternative realities. So the idea of curating the exhibition, it's divided into different spaces like maternity or motherhood, home, materiality, and migration. And I will continue showing. Let me see if I can move the images there. So the question that I started when I was writing for the exhibition, how can we keep our sense of well-being when these problems are around? So the call was answered And I invited the Hermanas Iglesias to participate, and I was fortunate that they said yes. Of course, and they are showing one of the most compelling artworks that I've been following for many years. It has been 9 years of developing this project commiserate series or comparecidas series. It's an ongoing work that they do. They stage intimate portraits of themselves posing pregnant or talking about responding to their pregnancy, death, birth, and motherhood as artists. The series that you see as a poster on your right, those are the last photographs that they've been working on. They got together for the last time, probably last year, and one of the sisters' studio, and they invited their children, now around ages 4, 6, to pose under, posing under their sweaters, symbolizing in a way the motherhood continues. And it is a very compelling artwork that I wanted to include, since as a mother of 3 adults now, in the past I was not allowed to talk about my motherhood. Feminist art has been evolving, and this is a way of like putting a call to all mothers that we have to combine our careers and share our studios and have time for our families. From here, I moved to Sage Serrano. She recently gave birth to a beautiful baby, and she's talking about her experience being a mother and how wonderful it will be to, lactate in public, which is still censored. On the right, have Angela Zamora or Angela Zamora. She's talking about a message to her little sister. She places a baby in a boxing crib with tusks and in a mobile, reflecting on how her upbringing in her childhood was, and sending a message to, as I said, her little sister, like fight little sister, for your identity and for being a woman. Now, moving to migration and territory. I invited Jasmine Kassam to be part of the exhibition. She decided to bring this compelling artwork talking about the name Philosophers Are Incoherent, or Los Filósofos Son Incoherentes. It's a call of an ongoing genocide and ethnic cleansing in Palestine and Gaza, and also the new fascist theocratic take in the US, and with all the injustices that we must endure. And as you see, the title, the materials is needle felting and video projection. Now I have Dulce Maria Lopez, a machetazos. Some of the artists, by the way, did not translate their titles. They decided to keep them in Spanish. It was their decision. So in this case, a machetazos, it's a big tool, big knife, an axe kind of. She is talking about this idea of how imperialism has taken place in other lands. She is from Jalisco, and how the use of water is being taken. The U.S. has control over capitalism, and how the duality or the fight between keeping the line and the contradiction of not allowing migrants to come here. And the dates of each one of the artworks are like very, very recent if you look at the titles. Then we have also another take on how people exotify the land. Instead of seeing it as is, El Chaparral, they look at it as, this kind of exotification or romanticization of the land. That is by Ana Pando. Also, talking about the land, Andrea Mendoza, she is describing her land, beautiful, including a self-portrait, I guess, of how her upbringing from Guerrero takes place and how beautiful the land is, talking also about motherhood and Pachamama, or La Madre Tierra, motherland. We also have Emily Hicks talking how the opposite of, like the fires that recently happened in Pacific Palisades and Altadena. She's including one of her members of her family and the memories that attain to this specific land. Quoting All That You Touch, You Change from Octavia Butler, la precursora del futurism or Afrofuturism. I can do some Spanglish too. Now, continue talking about the land and borders. We have these beautiful pieces. One that calls about no races, no deportation, and no nations by Alexa Macias and Lerida Armendariz. She's inviting to change the border as a playground. Those are so beautiful. Now, moving on, identity. I invited Katie Reese to be part of identity as a Chicana artist, regional artist. She brings her these beautiful pieces, textile pieces, one that talks about earth women and the elements of earth, air, and talking also about the image on the right. It's about the ear piece or the earring piece, arracada, symbolizing Chicano identity, being a Chicana. And if you see, there is a fence, border fence that the woman is sitting on, and it's erasing. So she talks about those portals that she creates with those windows, and trying to erase the border. Borders don't exist. So she brings elements like I was telling you, earth, fire, water, and air, in a way trying to eliminate borders and not caring about them, or inviting the viewer not to much care about them. Arlene Mejorado, she is a photographer. She's also a guest artist that I really enjoyed her work with this amazing Cortina con Mujeres. She titles her work, her photographs in Spanish, and then translates into English. So this is a photograph of accordion, 2 photographs on accordion. This is women working, and when we were curating the show, I was curating the show, I decided to put this beautiful piece as a centerpiece facing the street, because it's so similar, also so close to my work, not similar, but close to my work, as talking about marginalized women and the colors too. She talks about, her work is about memory, about landscape placemaking. We can see that she decides also to reinvent her view of family when she travels to her to visit her family in Mexico, and she creates these new portraits. They don't have to be the typical mother, father, and child. They can be cousins. And the image on the left, and to me, it looks more like beautifying or celebrating hair. That is also part of Latino culture. We're going to see more about hair. Then we have Evelyn Romero. Evelyn Romero and Alcatraz, she's talking about this beautiful Chicana and the future, with wings and a heart in the middle, and Alcatraz that she's holding as a symbol of hope, along with Fragment of Identity by Montserrat Mejia. Unfortunately, I didn't come with a date. But she is inviting the audience to participate due to the people. No, I'm sorry, I'm trying to translate. No teníamos tanto espacio. We didn't have enough space to display the activity that she's inviting the audience to participate. So we had only the instructions, you see them on the left, how to define identity. It's an interactive piece where she's inviting people to bring in memories or photographs or images of their upbringings. And she discusses issues of gender, race, sexuality, and socioeconomics. Now we have Protegida and we have Little Sister. These two artworks, actually, they are located one next to the other. Here in Latino and Black communities, or Black identities and Latino identities, they have a strong and very powerful meaning. For Latina women or Chicano women, it's defying their indigenism, their background. In the case of Jax, Jax is trying to become the mother by using hair and braided hair, beads, and shells to reimagine sci fiction, sci-fi spirituality. And on the left, it is very interesting how the flowers and the force with the indigenous mask of probably an Aztec mask is protecting the identity of this woman, like the new Chicana. Now we have Monica Loss and her beautiful textiles. This is a video. It's a part of a series that she created where she talks about monstrums feminine, the act of being the other, as well as we have Leila Kalisari. She created this painting thinking about resilience, repair, struggle, and facing adversity. We have Mi Revolución by Selena Calvo. It's watercolor on pen. It is facing crowds in communities and Latino communities. Now women are more active, more resilient. So having a magnophone, it's important. She's communicating her ideas and her voice, as well as Sari Elguezabal. She is talking about her journey dealing with illnesses and how the system failed to her. So from the left to the right, the Polaroids that she's been documenting throughout her process of healing are changing the colors. So there's a little piece of fabric at the top, and some rocks at the bottom, symbolizing her path and her journey of healing. Now we have Luisa Martinez. She created this interactive book where she reconstructs or she undoes and constructs her identity through a book using photographs of her childhood. And it's very interesting to see how people interact with them. If you have a chance to visit the gallery, just take a look at it. It's very, very appealing. We also have Centenaria by Yadira Gutierrez, where she reappropriates. She's part of a collective, by the way, and she reappropriates film that were made by men and having interventions on the film. If you look at the shapes, it's a video, but I took a photo of it. The shape, the bright circle, it is her interventions where she uses different lenses to enter in the film that is already produced. As well as Raquel Yadira, she uses animation using a program to talk about her connection with her grandmother, and that's using colors that symbolize her grandmother, who they share the same name, and she dedicates it to her. Now we have Vivienda. She was also Monica Arriola, an amazing artist. I also love her work, and she was kind enough to share more of one of her recent videos. This video is created with artificial intelligence. What it says, en my memory recuerdo mi casa, en mi memoria, perdón, en mi memoria recuerdo mi casa, in my memory I remember my home. So thinking about mobile homes that in the past were moved from the US to Mexico, and how homes can be placed anywhere. It's a beautiful poetical piece. We also have Mar Nereida. This is an artwork that is interactive. People can play with it. It's a tangram made out of wood, felt, and collage, where you can place the people as you decide to do, creating a home and thinking about the space in a different way. It's obviously placed on the floor, and it's very, very interesting to how people interact with it and how we construct or deconstruct ideas of home. Shelter by Yerba Mala Colectivo, they invite the community that they gather with to talk about home. What is their idea of shelter or refugio? So in this case, everybody that was part of this collective, the community in Tijuana, they are placed in Tijuana, and it's an ongoing collective. They created this home as a way of, a tent, pretty much as a way of like symbolizing home, with embroideries, with pieces of clothing and gloves. It is very, very compelling. It has a lamp inside, so to light up. With Miriam Garcia Aguirre, where she talks about notions of home in Tijuana and how capitalism has taken control over the cost of living nowadays. And we have also Araceli Urbina, where she in Tijuana collects cardboard boxes from the streets, especially in Revolucion, and talks about how the homelessness situation is happening in both sides of, probably in both sides of the border, and also in Tijuana. And she decides to write it, to hand stitch it, a message. And it's a little bit difficult to read, but it says, in hostile times, as we save home, a safe home is a refugee. So people that don't have shelter, don't have home, these two images are very, very, they're talking to each other. We also have the future, or el futuro. It's a way of gathering artists that work with different materials or materiality. So in the case of Diana Barahona, she works with what it's called the cosmopop, an idea of fusion, postmodernism, and Latino definition, or Latino, how can I say, context. So she's mixing the language, right? El future, el futuro se usa en la misma forma. So she's playing with future and identity in a photo also that is screen printed on tile with her name on it and screened. So her nickname is Darks. So she's embedding a future of a past home. We also have work of Akiko. Akiko uses beads and fibers to talk about, this exploration of a mass work that is growing out of the stone. She also quotes a phrase from Octavia Butler. She quotes it complete: all that you touch, you change. All that you change, changes you. The only lasting is change. So she is talking about radical imagination of Black revolutionaries. And now Natalia Ventura, she invited her family to destroy her female, especially the members of her female members of her family, to destroy this centerpiece. It's like, it looks like leathers or rolls of paper, but it's porcelain. So those long white pieces are the stems of the flower. So she invited one day the members of her family to destroy this notion of beauty or what is called Marianism. And this piece comes along with a QR code where you can scan it and see the video of her aunts and cousins destroying and hammering the pieces. Very, very interesting. Also, materiality is part of a new generation involving paper, ceramics, nature. It's a call to preserve and think about mother nature. And these two artworks, both artists are using fibers, leaves, as well as in the case of Naomi, she's using artichokes and herbs to create artworks. We also have the work of Leah Puffer, but it's like she uses the phrase, she investigates phrases and notions of philosophy that by 100 paper cuts, and where she creates this mass of heads and body parts all cut, right? It's very interesting and dynamic. And Black Box, they also were part of the guest artists to be part of the exhibition. Black Box Sanctuary is created by Ghost Agency. It's by Grow Sarao and Annie Garza. They collaborate into inviting students. It was a workshop that took place in the front, where they promoted, or they did a workshop with youth analyzing the space for social change. So it's a video as a result of their workshop, and they have those little figures into what is called the Black Box Sanctuary to symbolize a safe space. Also, these two artists are talking about the future. One asked AI what was their idea of, what is the future? And in the case of Mylene, she creates this totem portal to transport ourselves into the future. Another portal by Jesse Rowaski, Possibilities. And we also have Yvette Roman inviting people to pray or listen to her prayers with an interactive or audio that she included, mentioning, or like she created actually a poem for this kind of a pray in light of candle, hoping that the future will be better. Here I am. This Saturday we will have a community gathering. It's free for everybody. It's from 12 to 4. It takes place next door to the front. Thank you for everybody that is here. And thank you. Now the photo of us. Thank you to the team. Thank you, Francisco, for inviting me. It's been a wonderful experience.
Thank you, Claudia. Muchas gracias. Okay, so does anyone would like to start with some questions to Claudia about the exhibition, about Claudia and her work? If not, well, I would like to ask you a question, Claudia.
Okay.
Okay.
Ready.
Okay, so if you can share with us, why do you think it is so important to talk about these themes right now, especially through the lens of Chicano futurism and Latin futurism? Maybe for some people, it's still kind of a new topic. or something that they're not very well known or haven't heard a lot about it. So if you can share with us how these perspectives open up to other narratives that we might miss.
Well, I try to simplify art in my classes as well. I'm trying to simplify language as well, since I'm constantly translating, and you can hear that sometimes I'm like, me tropiezo, right? Like I'm like bumping into changing. So anyways, going back to your question, answering your question, I think that everybody in a way knows what the future can be, alternative spaces, trying to reinvent this. For if we look for the formality of how it started with Afrofuturism and the idea of not existing in any, science fiction, pop culture, rap, it's always marginalized people. So if we think about alternatives, we think about opening the space to others that haven't had the opportunity to express themselves or to use materials or to be in this case in a white space, right? So it is important to be present, especially now. Hopefully budgets won't change, right? It's a time of fear. Now it's, I think, worse than it was since November. I live in terror every day. I am afraid of listening to the news and now what's going to be caught, right? So for an artist that is outspoken about, invisibility, my questions will always be, scare. And so it's important. It's important to talk about these subjects.
Of course. Thank you, Claudia. So we have a question on the chat. I'm gonna read it, and it says, in what other ways have you seen discussions change? You talk about the way maternity and the discussion around it has evolved.
Well, there are always, if we talk about trends, my background is in advertising. I was not formally trained as an artist. My background is advertising and mass media, and I have a master's in fine arts as well as advertising. So the way that I see it is like, if we talk about trends, we're probably in a really good trend of speaking about our entities as mothers and including them. Patriarchy, the system has always been, and it's still, as long as we don't have parity, we don't have a president, a female president, or we still have, constraints, we will always have to be careful. And the case of motherhood, some artists were able to do it, but others were actually neglecting their kids. Famous female artists were. It was not well accepted, and communities, especially, the community that I come from, my upbringing, being from Mexico, it's interesting to see, and my age, obviously, it's changing. It's very difficult to stand up when there are very few Mexican artists in the community. I know them by name, right? We're limited. And also machismo and Marianism is against us. Marianism meaning that we have to stick within the parameters of being a woman, right? A woman has to take care of her family, has to be, quiet, not outspoken. So anyways, I can go on and on about this question, but yeah, it is important to talk about it. And I really, really enjoyed seeing the work of the Las Hermanas Iglesias in the gallery.
Thank you, Delilah, for your question. Now we're going to pass on Megan. And it says, how did you decide the themes of the works and then decide how to pick each of the works?
Well, thank you, Megan, for your question. Even though I was invited to curate, I have to give kudos to the team that helped me. Liz and Ali were part of it. I was not just by myself deciding. It is I did not want to be biased, and it's important that the institution also protects the artist. In the case, my idea. So things were very, very organic. The answers from the artists, I think that we are all on the same page. It's not that we decided or I decided. The theme obviously was visions of a future with a question. What is your idea of the future? How are you going to survive this horrible moments? And the answers came back that way. So it wasn't precise, elected by me or us. It was, the artist submitting. For this presentation, I decided obviously to group the artists because they are speaking to each other. It's having a dialogue, having a conversation. Actually, it happened the day of the opening. Some of the artists were there and they were meeting for the first time, and they had so much in common that relationships started to, happen. Also, most of the artists from the open call, I was not familiar with the work, which is a wonderful coincidence. So I think that it's a great opportunity to bring community and to establish a dialogue.
Okay. Does anyone else would like to make a question? Okay, I think I have another one.
Okay.
So we still have a few more minutes. So after reviewing so many submissions for visions of the future, was there a particular theme or topic that kept coming up across the proposals? Something that stood out to you or made you pause and reflect?
Well, I think that all of them are well produced. Their art practices of the artists is magnificent. I'm inspired. What it was interesting to see is that home, the notion of home, it's important. Maybe because we're women and we care about the place or where we are located. I'm not sure if that's the case. I think that identity is also one of the recurring themes. And in this case, we're still defining and we're still making space for people of color, people with disabilities, artists with LGBTQ. I think that the dialogue is important. So I was more happy than surprised to see the submissions and the quality of the artwork. And I have to confess to you that it's very scholarly without knowing. Many artists are, formerly grad students from UCSD, SDSU, from Point Loma, USD. So it was very interesting to see that they submitted work. And young artists too, as well. I was very, very happy, very pleased to see that young artists are emerging and they are defiant and they are submitting without, many young artists are afraid of challenging themselves, submitting. It's a little bit of a, like a cautious that some artists do. So I was very happy to see young artists, emerging artists, submitting.
Thank you. And we have another question from Jackson. It says, as a curator, is there a specific set of criteria when you choose a piece for a given theme or exhibit?
Well, this is, as I mentioned at the beginning of this this talk or this presentation, that is my first time formally. I've done it before, but formally curating a show. And I have to confess to you that the first set of hours, we spent 7 hours selecting the artwork, 110 artworks. We had a spreadsheet, a formal spreadsheet. It was the second set probably was 3-4 hours, right? 4 hours too. So we're talking about like, oh my gosh, 13 hours. And then we had to, unfortunately, due to the space, the limited space, we have to revise again the list. And because you have to like respect the artworks, you have to be able to, like lay them out in a way that each one of the artworks has its own space to breathe and people to look at them. Otherwise, it will be salon style, and I don't think it will pursue the goal of enjoying an exhibition. So it took time. It took a lot of effort from not only me, as I mentioned, but I had the final say, the final yes or no, and that was very serious to say yes or no.
Okay, Megan says, do you think your background as a first-time curator and long-time artist and performing helped in your creation?
I also have a museum study certificate. So I've done it, for the program. The program at Mesa College, San Diego Mesa College, and I did curate during as part of the certification to curate. I think that experience, knowing artists. I teach at San Diego State a class that curates 10 to 12 artists each semester, and this is my 4th year inviting and curating amazing artists from the region. So far I have curated 80. So yeah, like community is important. Going to exhibitions, visiting museums, studying. That's probably why I don't have a hobby, right? I'm always looking at art and thinking of art or making art or writing about. So yeah, everything helped. Thank you for the question.
I have a follow-up question to that. Is there anything new you think that you learn each time that you create something as an artist, or like what's your relationship between you as an artist and you as a curator every time you have to curate something new?
I think that technology and new materials are very interesting to me. So seeing the artworks of other people, the practice of other artists and up and coming artists, emerging artists with new ideas, it is very inspiring. So I think that that's like technology and materiality. Those are the two things that I have found out fascinating. That keeps me on my toes. Like, oh, I don't know about, coding, or I don't know, like, should I start doing AI, or should I, just those questions. Obviously, I'm just answering, but yeah, it's always fascinating to see how other artists' practices are, in other, or using other mediums that I'm not familiar with. So yeah. Thank you, Ali.
Any other question? Anímense. No? So, okay.
Oh, yeah, there is. Oh.
Muy bien. Dice Yadira, muchas gracias por todo el esfuerzo que dio vida a esta maravillosa exposición.
Gracias, Yadira, por participar. Ha sido todo un honor. Fue lindísimo. Ojalá que todos vengan, inviten a sus amigos, amigues el sábado. Please don't forget we have a big event this Saturday. We also have a closing May 8th. But this Saturday, if you don't follow us on social media, please follow. The front is always, active in the community. They offer a lot of workshops, especially for emerging, students. Oh, thank you, Jillian. Thank you. It is important to follow social media. I know some of us are not, but they are very active. You can also register online and can send you the newsletter. But they offer many workshops during the year, and they are free, which is amazing. So please don't forget about this amazing institution.
Okay. Well, thanks. Thank you for your wonderful, thoughtful dialogue. Okay, so, well, I think we're gonna end with this meeting. Thank you all so much for joining us today. And thank you, Claudia, for sharing with us your insights, not only as an artist, but also now as a creator. And well, thanks everyone for holding this space with us. So hope to see you this Saturday on our Cedar Saturdays event, if not the closing or any of other activities that we're having. So have a good night.